Hello and welcome to today's briefing. I'm Dana, and I'm joined by Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's start with the latest political developments. President Trump has threatened to push forward with a fund to compensate his allies if two Republican holdouts won't support his nominee for Attorney General. What's the background on this?
The reporting suggests that Trump is trying to leverage support for his nominee, Todd Blanche, by tying it to a $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. But how does this fund actually work?
The Anti-Weaponization Fund is intended to compensate individuals who feel they've been unjustly persecuted. Trump claims it will help those targeted by what he sees as weaponized investigations. However, the details are still unclear.
So the fund is linked to Trump's broader narrative about being unfairly targeted. But what's the current status of Blanche's nomination?
The Senate confirmation vote is planned for next week, but it's facing opposition from two Republican senators, John Cornyn and Thom Tillis. Trump's threat adds a new layer of uncertainty to the process.
It seems like a high-stakes game of political leverage. If Blanche's nomination is blocked, Trump might push hard to keep the fund active.
What are the potential implications of this? If the fund moves forward, it could lead to significant payouts to Trump's allies. This might further polarize the political landscape and raise questions about the administration's priorities.
That ties into the broader context of Trump's political strategy. Let's move on to another story. The death toll in the Spain-Morocco border crisis has risen to 67. What are the latest developments there?
The crisis in Ceuta has seen significant humanitarian concerns. The Spanish government reported that the death toll includes those who drowned and those killed in a stampede while trying to cross the border.
That's a tragic situation. Have there been any changes in how Spain and Morocco are handling the crisis?
Spain has implemented new containment measures amid the migrant surge. The situation remains volatile, with tens of thousands crossing back.
The international community is likely watching this closely. What's the response been like from other countries?
The reporting doesn't go into great detail about international responses, but it's clear that the crisis has drawn significant attention.
Let's switch gears to a story about U.S. immigration policy. The State Department is making a visa bond program permanent for people from 50 countries. What are the key details?
The program requires applicants from these countries to post bonds of up to $20,000 when seeking U.S. visas. The goal is to prevent immigrants from overstaying their visits.
That's a significant financial burden. Which countries are affected by this policy?
The countries affected are mostly from Africa. The exact list isn't specified in the reporting, but it's clear that the policy targets a broad range of nationalities.
How do immigration advocates view this policy?
Advocates argue that the rules deter people from coming to the U.S. and could have a disproportionate impact on certain communities.
The policy is part of a broader trend of stricter immigration controls under the current administration. Let's discuss the economic front. Trump's push for lower U.S. interest rates is facing a setback as borrowing costs climb. What's the current situation?
Treasury yields are rising, and financial markets are moving contrary to the administration's economic goals. Higher borrowing costs are impacting households, businesses, and the federal government.
Trump has been publicly pressuring the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, claiming it would boost economic growth. But what's the Fed's stance on this?
The Fed hasn't directly responded to Trump's pressure, but inflation concerns and policy uncertainty have kept investors cautious about U.S. debt.
So the market dynamics are working against Trump's desired outcome. How might this affect the midterm elections?
The reporting suggests that higher borrowing costs could impact economic sentiment, potentially influencing voter perceptions ahead of the midterms.
Let's look at a more positive economic story. UPI transactions in India have reached a record 23.66 billion in July. What's driving this growth?
Everyday usage and growth in rural markets are powering the increase. UPI transaction values have also surged to 29.9 lakh crore.
That's a significant milestone. How is this impacting India's digital payment landscape?
The growth in UPI transactions is a key part of India's digital payment revolution, making financial transactions more accessible and convenient.
Moving on to international trade, South Korea's July exports have surged 62.8% announcement due to a semiconductor boom. What are the details?
Semiconductor exports jumped 179% as memory chip prices continue to rise. Computer sales also surged 404% due to increasing AI investments by major U.S. tech firms.
That's a remarkable growth. How is this impacting South Korea's economy?
The surge in exports is a significant boost to South Korea's economy, driven by strong global demand for semiconductors.
Let's shift to sports news. The San Francisco Giants have suspended payment to injured outfielder Harrison Bader after a scooter accident. What's the situation?
Bader aggravated his injured left foot during the scooter accident, and the Giants are suspending his pay while he's on the injured list.
How does this impact Bader's situation with the Giants?
The suspension of pay adds to the challenges Bader is facing this season, which has already been marked by disappointment and injury.
Another sports story, 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall is set to miss the season due to knee surgery. What are the details?
Pearsall requires surgery to repair a torn PCL. John Lynch confirmed that the injury will keep him out for the 2026 season.
That's a significant loss for the 49ers. How does this impact their offensive strategy?
The loss of Pearsall will likely require the 49ers to adjust their offensive plans and rely on other players to fill the gap.
In soccer news, UEFA has declared no confidence in FIFA president Gianni Infantino after a failed plan to sell World Cup profits to private equity. What's the latest?
UEFA's statement followed Infantino's decision to abandon the divisive plan. UEFA is pursuing a full review and holding Infantino accountable.
The plan faced significant pushback from various corners of the soccer world. How did Infantino respond to the criticism?
Infantino ultimately abandoned the plan, citing the divisions it caused. However, UEFA's loss of confidence in him remains a significant development.
Let's move to entertainment news. The Met's next fashion exhibit will focus on John Galliano confronting his troubled past. What are the details?
The exhibition will cover Galliano's career, including his time at Door and his dismissal following anti-Semitic remarks. It aims to provide a nuanced look at his legacy.
Galliano's career has been marked by both significant talent and controversy. How does the Met plan to balance these aspects?
The exhibition will explore both Galliano's contributions to fashion and the challenges he's faced, providing a comprehensive view of his impact.
That's a thoughtful approach. Another entertainment story, Kangana Ranaut has responded to trolls using clips from her films against her. What's the context?
Ranaut had made controversial remarks about Gen Z protesters, labeling them Generation Gutter. Trolls responded by sharing clips from her films, which she criticized.
How does Ranaut justify her comments?
Ranaut argued that her movie roles should not be confused with her real-life views and accused trolls of misleading young audiences.
The backlash against Ranaut's comments highlights the sensitive nature of public discourse.
Finally, let's touch on a recent entertainment leak. Spider-Man: Brand New Day has been leaked online. What happened?
A high-quality bootleg of the film spread rapidly on social media before being taken down, marking another major studio film to be leaked recently.
Piracy remains a significant issue for the film industry. How does this impact the film's box office performance?
Despite the leak, Spider-Man: Brand New Day continues to perform well at the box office, suggesting that the leak hasn't significantly impacted its success so far. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to our briefing.
Thanks for joining us, Matt. Until next time.